Hey there, it's Ashley here with Createful Art. I'm at the Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado, and right behind me are some gorgeous quaking aspens, and I would love to show you how to paint them. Let's get started. For the first step, I'm going to paint the underpainting, and I'm just choosing a main color that I want. So I grabbed my yellow, which is an acrylic ink. This is a really fluid paint, and so it'll spread on really nicely. And then I use my gesso to lighten that color, and that makes a really strong base to my painting. And I just fill in my background. I just get paint on. I am really playful with this step. It gets me in the mood to paint, and so I have a lot of fun dripping, splattering, just spreading. So fill in your canvas if you're following along. I might even add a little bit of my bronze yellow in there. See how that's a nice gold. And I don't like to use water in this step. I like to have a strong base color. And that's all you need to know for this step. So now I'm using my 8 round brush here, and I've got some titanium white, and I'm going to switch between my titanium white and my gesso depending on how transparent I want my paint to be, and I'm going to get the sun down. So I'm choosing this spot for my sun to be, and see how strong of a coverage that is. I'll go down to my gesso here, mix it a little bit with my yellow too, and then come out of that area. So I'm going to make rays coming out. I'm just pulling down from the circle. Then I like to take my flat brush here and just a little bit of water, no paint at all. And I'm going to kind of scrub that in, soften it. Grab a little bit of white on my brush just to fill that area in. So what I'm looking for is to make this area lighter and to look naturally like it's going to glow behind these trees. I don't want it to be a cartoon sun, so I got to do a lot of blending. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a little bit of a mountain. So first I'm going to choose where I want my mountain to be. So I want my mountain to be close to my sun here because I want the focal point to be the sun and the mountain. So I have mixed a blue color. It doesn't honestly matter whatever blue color, it just needs to be darker than your sky. This is time to get creative, and I'm going to just make it really simple. Add a little purple, add a little blue, and make the shape of a mountain back here. And since this is Colorado, we're talking about nice big peaks here. Now when you find that your paint is skipping, it just means add a little bit of water to it so that it gets in those nooks and crannies here. And then I'm going to just scrub it in to fill it in. So where I add the darker color, it's going to not be hitting the sunshine as much. The darker side of the mountain. This will just add a little more dimension in there and be fun, loose, playful. don't have to get in the whole mountain because the trees are going to come in here and they're going to cover a lot of this. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my paper towel and some water, and where I want some trees to show through these mountains, I've got to add that area. So I'm going to take away. It's just a lot easier to do it this way so you can kind of see. Because I'm piecing this painting together, I have to do it this way. I'm not copying a picture directly. Now the next thing I have to do is I have to visualize the sky in there. So the contrast between the yellow of the trees and a sky is what makes the yellow pop. So if I had a yellow against a yellow sky, that's going to be a problem. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to slightly add in some blue. I might need to make that a little bit darker. So I'm using my Brilliant Blue for this. Just get it to that right happy spot. And I'm going to piece it in there. So I'm just not going to cover the whole thing. I'm going to leave some of this yellow showing. And this is just take some visualizing. You can use my painting as a reference for you. I just encourage you to be creative and feel free to change whatever it is you want. And you can click up in that upper right hand corner to get the reference photos for my paintings. So next I'm going to get in my green. This is those pine trees. I got my Hooker's green and my chromium. That's what it looks like. And I'm going to darken that with some dark brown that I've made earlier with black and bronze. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to work the composition so that I'm framing. So I'm going to start at the bottom. Let's see. Make that really dark brown green color. Then I'm going to start up here. So I started with a point. This is a very loose painting, so I'm not worrying about it being like the perfect realistic looking tree. I'm using blotches, pulling away from the sides as they fan out. Moving my wrist. I'm going from that black, that dark brown, to the green. Give it some dimension. And then I have another one right next to it, so it really just ends up being a lot of the same. So what I can do is I can make one stand out a little bit more against the other by lightening it. So like I said, I want it to frame in. putting in a little bit of blue. That just brings some harmony in here. It's the way I like to play with color. Alright, so now I'm going to take that green and I'm going to move it in with my white and my blue and make a nice soft green mix. And this is going to make the trees in the back. So I like to check my value to see if it's light enough that there's going to be a contrast here. And then come in with some trees. You want it to be a different blue than the sky. So I'm going to get in some purple here too. And I'm just going to make an area right in here, purple. Giving some lines to show that there are some other kinds of trees back here using the lighter colors. Going all the way to the top because the trees are going to be all the way to the top. And some of these trees, they go in front, especially the ones that are tall that go all the way to the top. These ones that are back here that don't go all the way to the top, that just means that they're in the background. So I like to make some trees that are unique and kind of this more focused on, I should say. I'm going to grab my titanium white and just make a nice little gray here. And I'm going to make two trees next to the focal point. And it doesn't matter if you go over all that hard work back there because that was just to make a background. It wasn't for anything else. Curve into this one, makes it more unique. I'm going to come all the way down to this point right here. Then I'm going to do another one. So you're still seeing that nice mountain back there. I'm going to make this one a little bit of a different color than the other one, just to make it a little more interesting. It's going to come all the way down a little bit in front of that other one. But let it be a little bit thicker down here. So now you're going to pick some random places for some more trees to go, because this is a very Aspen, Quakey Aspen, full tree painting. So I'm just gonna come in here, and I like to just pick random spots, and I like to give it different colors. And just go ahead and do this. Okay, it's starting to come together. So we've pretty much got the composition, which is going to be the focal point right through here, and we're gonna frame it in. So less yellow over here will end up. And we got this dark that's going to come through here, and then some more light that's going to come through here. So for now though, let's pay attention to the shadows for a second here. And you can use any cool colors for your shadows, and you don't have to have it perfect, but you don't want to just have a straight line because there's grasses and all that kind of stuff, is what I'm saying. So you're going to go from the light's hitting this direction, and so the shadow's going to be right through here. Now, this direction. Remember that this is going to shade over here too. So fill in areas that won't have anything bright. All this shadowing is important, so take your time on it. It's the play against the light and the dark that really makes it have dimension. So this one is almost directly in front of it, but not quite. So just give it some shadow area down here. Some shadow area right in here. Yeah, I'm just going to continue adding some more shadows and light areas. You know, rotating between greens, blues, purples, and it's all just personal preference. This will really make yours different than mine if you just have fun being creative. So now you can put the glow on the trees. So the tree, this one right here, is going to have glow mostly behind it. So on the very edge here, you can add titanium white or just any color really that's lighter. I like to push away from it just every once in a while. And be inconsistent, don't make it perfect. That's what makes it look really cool. Right, and now because there's just a little bit glowing on this is mostly the back side, you're gonna have a thinner one over here. Just in some areas. And when the trees are further back, you just want a lighter value than what you have down, but you don't want it white. You do the same thing, go along the edge with that lighter color so it appears like it's glowing from the light. So you're going to do this on all the trees. So this just takes some time. So go ahead and take your time on your trees. Next thing I like to do is I like to grab a darker color, just add it in some spots in the middle area. Okay, so I like to add it with a bright, bold color. You can use whatever you want. So I'm going with cobalt teal, and I like to add a little bit of purple too. These are just your favorite colors, and you can add your favorite colors. Have fun with it. And then I take that black color that's at the bottom and I put that in. I'll let it be pure black, and I just kind of let it be inconsistent. And there's areas within this that have the black, and I bring that in. So dots, rounds, lines, all of it is just going to be very random and very fun and playful. You can go with one tree for a while, or you can do what I'm doing and just sporadically put it on. So you can look at some pictures or the reference photo to help you get an idea of what this looks like. This is where a lot of people like to put their initials. I mean, there's so many options. And always right around where there's a branch is where a lot of the black goes. With the ones that are further back, I like to get a detail brush and calm the color down with some orange. So now I'm going to start working on this foreground part right here. And it's nice to just have some things like, okay, this is a tree coming down right here. There's branches, you know, just some things that kind of break it up. And your eye will make sense that this is the forest and it's got a lot going on. Okay, and then we need to add in additional colors in there. So where we were at, there was a lot of just tan grasses speckled in with some green. So I'm gonna grab my gold here and I'm gonna start getting in some more dimension through here, those grasses. So I'm just grabbing this brush that's got a crazy end here, pulling up to get the grasses. And I'm going to dabble into the color mixed with black and the color alone. And I'm going to leave some of that yellow, of course. And then when I'm next to like the really light grasses, I'll add more white, maybe a tad bit of green. Another cool thing you can do is grab your toothbrush, put it in your water so it'll flick better. Grab your color and spray some of that. You can also brighten it up with some orange. I'm gonna brighten it up back here. Now it's time to add in the leaves. La la la. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab my 8 brush and I'm going to get in some shapes that I can already see need to be put in here. I like to add some titanium white to my yellow color so that I get some good coverage over this. And see how I make some dots and then I add some blotches. And that is how I do it. I'm going to go around the yellow areas and define the yellow areas first. See how it starts to look more like, oh, the sky and there's a tree and this is pretty. I'm just going to keep doing this for a little while. Well, for a long while. Till it's how I want it to be, and then I'll go on to the other colors. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of the sun area with a darker yellow for the leaves. This makes it look like it's glowing, and we're going to add some darker colors into our trees here. So I'm going to start with adding some bronze to my yellow. So I'm coming in here, and in some of these areas I'm just adding some dark. So I'm going to leave some of it golden and some of it this, and then you can add some orange in there. Some of this will be a very goldish yellow and some of it will be a little more orangey of a yellow. And that's the point. You want to get some other colors in there. I like to just pick an area and make it that color. Focus on that color and then add in a different color like that, so that it's not all blotchy, 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 like, you know, you have one little blotch everywhere of different colors. So with this area back here, I'd like to leave this a little bit lighter, but just with some other colors. And I like to focus on what's like forward because there's going to be more contrast in that. So I'm just going to play with this a little bit. You know, you already added some areas of the darker yellow. So I'm just making the tree have a little bit more of a shape. This tree needs more detail because it's closer. This is a great time to step away from your painting and then come back to it a little bit later. When you're ready to come back to it, then that's when you can make small little changes to your composition, your colors, your values, whatever you want. This is all about your personal preferences. So be brave, Put your own personality into your paintings and you'll love them more. And then it's a real accomplishment by not just learning how to paint this, but also being creative. That is an accomplishment. So I hope you had fun painting with me today. I hope you learned a lot. If you want to learn more, go ahead and get those art lessons right around here. They're weekly art lessons that are going to help you become a better artist. I teach you all kinds of things like composition and color theory and values and elements of art and design, all these things that you need to know so that you can create whatever art you want to create. These lessons are super important to help you become a better artist. So I hope you get those art lessons, and you can watch more videos if you'd like and learn more. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!